Hey everyone, welcome back to another tutorial video. In today's video, we'll be exploring Flutter Firebase, basically Firebase for backend services, and we'll be doing the Firebase authentication and also integrating Firestore to store some data and fetch on our Flutter app. So we'll be building a basic Flutter app with Firebase basically. So why Firebase now? So Firebase have real-time data, offline persistent, and authentication in minutes because everything has been integrated into Firebase. So what we just have to do is call it and make use of all the features that we have available on Firebase. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. If you're new to this channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like the video, and also drop an honest comment at the end of the video. And by the way, I want to hear your feedback, so make sure you drop a feedback if you get if you learn anything in this video basically. Thank you. All right, so now the first thing is to create a new Flutter project. So I will just create a new Flutter project. This is my VS Code, this is my simulator. So on my VS Code now, just press Ctrl P, then Flutter new project, then application. I'll select the directory now. Let me just select my desktop. Okay, so let me just say Flutter Firebase tutorial. Let me just name it like that. So that's our Flutter app. So why that will run for some seconds. So now for Firebase now, just head over to console.firebase.google.com to create a Firebase project. So once you're on this URL, then you have a screen like this. Just log into your Google account, then you'll be able to have a screen like this. So the next thing now is just to create a new Firebase project. So I'll just click on it, then enter your project name. So I can just say Flutter Firebase tutorial like this. Yeah. So accept the terms, then let's continue. Let's continue as well. Then let's continue as well. You can select a configure account. So let me just select default account for Firebase. That's my Gmail account basically. So create project. So this will take a few seconds. Okay, our Flutter project is done running. So let's just leave it at this. So our Firebase project also is currently building. So this will finish building, then we'll be able to like integrate Firebase into our Flutter app. So in minutes or even in seconds. Yeah. Alright, so our Firebase project is done building. So let's just continue. Then we'll be able to log into our Firebase dashboard. So this is our Firebase dashboard now. Let me just close all these extra tabs. Yeah. And on it. So we have our Flutter Firebase tutorial project. So this is just how easy Firebase is to just create a simple project on Firebase here. So to add a new app now, so on Firebase now you can add multiple apps. So if I click on this add app now, you can see iOS, you can see Android, you can see web, you can see Unity, then we have the Flutter. So now since we are on Flutter, we just use Flutter instead of doing iOS and Android one after the other. We just select Flutter here, then we'll be able to like set it up automatically. So prepare your workshop. So you have to have Firebase CLI installed on your system and log in. I will walk you through that. So for Firebase CLI, if you go to this URL now, so to install Firebase CLI, there's some command. Even though I already have it installed on my machine, but I will show you the process of setting up Firebase CLI on your machine. So if you encounter any error, make sure to drop a comment or just message me on Discord, and I will respond to your messages. So depending on the OS that you are currently on, probably Windows, Mac OS, or Linux, then the installation is different. So for Firebase CLI for Mac OS, for Windows, you can just download the Firebase CLI binary for Windows, then you'll be able to log in. For Windows, you can just install a script. So you run a single command via Node.js, that is npm. So you can run this command first, which is curl http firebase.source.bash, then it will have Firebase installed on your system. So once you have it installed, then you can proceed to login in Firebase on your machine. So that is Firebase login. So this Firebase login will prompt a URL. So the URL will open on a browser, then you log in your Google account, I mean that Firebase Google account. So once you log in, it will recognize that, oh, you are the owner of this particular Firebase account. So anytime you want to run the command on your terminal, it will be able to like fetch for that particular Firebase account. So now I've logged in already. So if I just check Firebase projects list, if I run this Firebase projects list without logging in, it will throw an error. But since I'm already logged in, if I just run Firebase projects list, it will open this up. Yeah, another thing is I have to send an invite, because actually the account that is connected to this Firebase is not the one that is logging on my CLI. So I have to send an invite to my other Firebase account. So just give me a few seconds, let me just do that, and I'll be back in this video. Yeah. Alright, so I've been able to add the account that is associated with my Firebase that is logging on my system. Yeah, so basically I can just run Firebase login, although it's already logging. So for you have to run Firebase login, then it will log in. You have to have Flutter install, and then to create a new Flutter. Basically this is how the basis. So you can just click on next. So the next now is to activate the Firebase CLI. So to activate it, you just run that pub global activate Flutter Fire _ CLI. So you can just copy this. I already have it, but let's just run it again. So just go to your terminal like this. I'll just use my VS Code terminal to run on my command. So after that, this is just to enable activate Flutter Fire on your terminal globally. So after that, now at the root of your Flutter project, run this command. So this one is to configure our Flutter project to this particular Firebase project. So just copy this as well. Yours will be different. You can see my project name, Flutter Firebase tutorial. Then the ID is different as well. So yours will be different. So make sure you copy yours and just paste it in your terminal like this. Then I'll just run it. It will go through some configuration. So let's just stick to it. So as you can see, it says which platform should your configuration support. So we just support Android and iOS. So what you can just do is arrow up, arrow down for selection, then space to deselect. I will just unselect the other three, then press OK. Alright, so as you can see now, the configuration is done. So this has already created Android and iOS for us with this bundle ID. Another thing we have to keep in mind when you are working on a production project is to keep in mind the bundle ID, your application ID. If you go to your Android now app, you go to this build.cloud.kotlin. So you see this application ID. So this is your application ID. So this has to be unique. You can't use com.example in a production application. You have to change it to something. So when you are changing it, make sure that you are rebuilding, you are configuring Firebase again with it. So because the ID must be the same with what you have on Firebase. Because if I go back to my Firebase now, if I refresh, you see that the application has been connected. Let's just refresh. As you can see, Flutter Firebase, you can see the Android icon and also the iOS icon. So if I go to the project settings now, so you can see the ID that is connected to it. So you can see com.example.flutter_firebase_tutorial for iOS, different application ID. So when it is production, make sure you set the application ID correctly. You can use example in a production app, and the best way to do that is you can just do a general search, just do com.example like this. So you can see everywhere where you have com.example, then you can replace everything to whatever you want to use. And once you are done doing that, if you have configured Firebase before, make sure you just run the configuration process again to actually get the current application ID and set it on your Firebase project. Yeah, so that's basically. So after that now, if you check through before I move to this project settings. Let me just quickly go back so you can see it. So after the install and run, you can see initialize Firebase and add plugin. So the first thing now is to add this Firebase call. So this is the call of all Firebase packages. Any package you'll be using at all, even to use Firebase, you have to have this Firebase call installed in your Flutter project. So to do that, now just install Firebase call, then and just do Firebase call like this, so it will be installed in my pub spec. Then inside our main.dat, now as you can see in this example, it was said that we have to await Firebase initialization. So I'll just copy this. So just go to our main app. So these have to be functional. So but before that, let me just paste this here. So we can just set asynchronous. Let me import Firebase call. Alright, let me import the Firebase option. So by default, it auto generates this Firebase option. So the Firebase option contains the configuration of the platform that we configure for this particular Firebase project. You can see Android, you can see iOS with their API key and every other necessary details. So that's that for this. So pretty much we are done with integrating Firebase. So the next thing is just to explore the features that we have on Firebase. But before then, let me just run this app. So while it's running, I can just explain some of the things that we have on Firebase and what we'll be integrating in this video. Yeah, so let's just continue to console. So once we continue to console, if we are by the left or right, whichever side this is from your side, this side panel, you can see the build. We have four sections, which is build, run, analytics, and AI. Yeah, so this build basically contains some features. We have app check, app hosting, authentication, data connect, extension, Firebase database function, hosting, machine learning, real-time database storage. So app check is just setting some rules to do some check for your application. So if the checks are not valid, then it won't proceed to your basically. So that's what app check is. If you open it now, you see protect your backend resources from abuse such as billing fraud and phishing. So this is just to check and validate all entry before actually performing tasks. And we have app hosting as well. So app hosting is basically to deploy full stack web application at global scale. So that's app hosting. We have authentication. So this is what we are going to be first. This is what we will first integrate, which is authentication. So we integrate just email and password here. If time permits us, we can as well integrate Google, but just to cut the video short, we'll just stick to email and password. So this is authentication. We have data connect. We have extensions where we have different Firebase extension. We have Firestore database. This is one of the real-time database on Firebase. Then we have function. This is cloud function. We have hosting. You can host your web app here. We have machine learning. We have real-time database, and we have storage. So without further ado, let's get started with authentication. So just go to the authentication tab like this, then click on get started. So once you're on get started now, let me check if this guy, okay, still running. All right, so because I'm on iOS, it's going to run into some problems. So as you can see, the error said the plugin Firebase call require a higher minimum iOS deployment version than your application is targeting. So to do that, if you're on Mac, you just have to update this guy. So let me just go to iOS. My pod file, the minimum should be at least 15. So let's just uncomment this and just set it to 15 like this. Let me go to my pod file, my iOS folder, so I can just install pod like this. Just give it a few seconds to install the dependency, and I will turn on it. So on our authentication on Firebase, now you can see all the providers that Firebase have. So you can see get started with Firebase Auth by adding your first sign-in method. So the native provider, we have email and password, we have phone number, we have anonymous. And then the additional provider, we have Google, Game Center, Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, Twitter, Play Game, GitHub, Yahoo, and all this custom provider as well. So for today, we just be sticking to email and password. So just click on it, then enable it like this. For email link, I mean, if someone just want to get a link, all those platforms that just submit your mail. So once you submit your mail, a link will be sent to your mail. So from that link is how you get access to it. So if you want to set up that, you can just enable that. But for our current setup, we'll not be using it, but we can still enable it like this. Yeah, so we already have it, email and password enabled, so we can make use of that in our Flutter project. So now, okay, pod is still installing. Let's just give it a few seconds. All right, so since pod is still installing, so let's just install some package and probably just design some UI pending the time this is done. So we'll be needing Firebase authentication. We'll be needing cloud storage, Cloud Firestore as well in this project. So Firebase authentication is how we have access. Let me close this. How we have access to the Firebase authentication session here. Cloud storage is how we have access to the Cloud Firestore database here. So we'll be installing both packages now. So on my VS Code now, Control P, then greater than, just add dependency like this. Then I can just say Firebase auth. So it should be small auth like this. Then the name of this is Cloud Firestore like that. So let me just click on enter. Let me open my prospect to confirm if they are installed. Okay, so the two package. So we have all the three package that is necessary for now, which is Firebase core, Firebase authentication, and Cloud Firestore. So I will just build this very simple, no complicated UI or anything like that, just to make everything straightforward. So let's run the app now, so everything should work. So now while waiting for that, so I'll just create a new file. Let me just call it login.dat, and let me just call this one home.dat. So this one can be login or sign in, whichever one. So inside my login, let me just create a simple UI. Just call material page. Okay, then let's use a stateful widget. So let's just say login or sign up like this here. Let's put scaffold, then let's just put ABBA like this. Yeah, so let's remove the constant. Then for body, just use column. Yeah. Okay, so we are good for this. Let me just do that for home as well. So let's just set a skeleton here. So material. Then let's put that on home screen like that. Then let's say scaffold. Let's put ABBA here as well. Okay, title home screen. Let's remove this. Then let's put body column as well. So let's just build the skeleton for these two pages. Then on our main.dat, we are going to be removing all this boilerplate code generated by Flutter, so we can get started with the integration of Firebase. So keep in mind that we initialize Firebase here, so this must be initialized, otherwise Firebase will not be able to build new application. And another thing to keep in mind is there's this widget Flutter binding to ensuring initialization. As you can see, my copilot already highlighted it, so I will just accept it. So make sure you have this widget Flutter binding to ensure initialized, so to make everything work as they ought to, basically. So that's that for this. So the next thing now is to start our authentication. So on this login now, so I'll just create two dummy test feed. So it will just be email and password, and also when you want to sign up, it will be email and password. So let me just say text form feed like this. By the way, it's been long that I've write text form feed in a way, seems weird, because I've been using custom text form feed. Yeah, so for text form feed, I'll just create two controllers. So let's just say text editing controller, email, then password like that. Okay, so let's go. So let me just say controller, it one should be email. Let's say whichever, what else do we still have here? Keyboard type should be text or email address. Inputs, do we have input? No, don't need this. I think that's pretty much. Yeah, then let's also do for password. Let me just put it up and text form feed. Then we can say controller for password, secure through, and yeah, I think that's good. Yeah, so I'll just keep it simple. Let me just do this again. Then let's use elevated button. Then on press, okay, child, just say login. Then on pressed, now that's where we are going to call our function. All right, now so we need to log in, so we can just put login or sign up here. So as just to make things simple, we'll have both what's it called, login and sign up here. So we just check if the user already exists, it will log in, otherwise it will sign up. Or just to make things better, let's just separate it, so we can just have login separate and sign up separate. So once the user sign up, or once the user sign up, then they can log in. So on this, inside this function now, we have, since we already install this Firebase authentication, inside this Firebase authentication now, we have access to some pre-built widgets by Firebase authentication. So with that, we can just call let's go back to login. So I can just call, so first of all, we have to mark this on press asynchronous because it's a feature function. So okay, so this is the suggestion that we already have, which is the email and password. To trim it, then to try, we have the try and catch. So let's just accept this. So first of all, we are just getting the email and password with the trim method, just to trim it in case of any unnecessary space. Then we have our try and catch method. So try is just to try a particular function. Then we have the Firebase exemption as well. So there's a lot of Firebase exemption, like user not found, weak password, some other exemption that I can't really remember, but there's a list of exemption if you check through the open source. So we have the exemption, then we have else as well if it's none of the exemption, basically probably network issue or something like that. So for Firebase Auth, we can just import the package like this, then we are good to go. So try to sign in. So this, we have sign in with email and password. Again, we also have create email and password as well. So the same way we have sign in with email and password, we also have create user with email and password. Yeah, so where we just pass the email and password to our Firebase database. Yeah, so once we check this and the user is correct, then we can tell the user to log into dashboard. And then for this exemption, now we are checking the code. If user is not found, we can just easily just search now Firebase Auth exemptions. So let's just check that. So you see the list of all the Firebase exemptions that are available, basically. So you can get the error message. It is Firebase authentication. Okay, you know what? Let's just go to what? Okay, let's just stick to this. You can see the invalid email. If invalid email, so it throw if the email format is invalid. Wrong password, user now found, user disabled, email already exists, and so on and so forth. You can see different exemption. Your operational allowed, weak password requires recent login, too many requests, account exists with different credentials. So these are all the exemption that Firebase authentication currently have. So with this, you can watch, and probably if you want to change the message for the user, then you can as well just update the user. So that's that for this sign in with user. So probably let me just create another button below, since we just want to use a static page here. So I'll just duplicate this. Let me just copy this let me say size box 60. Then I will call this sign up. So the user can just sign in or sign up here. So with for instead of signing with email and password, here we say create. You can see create user with email and password. So we are only passing email and also the password to Firebase basically. So Firebase will be the one to store it inside this authentication. So once we sign in, you see the information inside this our users. So while we are still waiting for our app to kickstart and let's just go to the home page and just create few screens, since what you just want to do is a note application, so where the user can just write note and just save, just like the notepad on your phone basically. So that's what we just want to simply do. So now to do that, now inside this body, first thing first, we have to fetch inside Firestore. So let's go to Firestore database. We can enable it now, so we can make use of it. So just go to Firestore database. Let's just check for it. All right, so Firestore database, then we can create a database. It will actually want to go for standard edition or enterprise. So let's just take with standard for now. You can see the description: a simple query engine with automatic indexing for document up to 1 MB, advanced query engine with MongoDB capability for document up to 4 MB, supports MongoDB drivers and tools only. So what we just want to do here is just a simple indexing. So let's just stick with that. Then database ID default, you can change the location to the nearest database center close to you, but let's just leave it at this. Then next, so here now you can choose in production mode or test mode. So for now we'll change it to test mode, although you can always update the rules anytime, any day. So we can just work with test mode for now. I will probably update the rule as well before the end of this video. So let me create Firestore. So this will take a few seconds. Let me check. Okay, our Flutter app is still running. Yeah, it's because that's the first time, that's why it's taking so much time for it to run. All right, so our Firestore is done building. Then we have our Firestore collection. So the way Firestore work basically is it have collection. So once you create a collection, under a collection the collection we have an ID basically. So I can just create a dummy ID. Then once you click on next, this like the collection name, this whatever I type here, then the document ID, then inside the document ID the data you want to store is just like JSON, like giving a JSON a feed name, then the JSON data basically, if you know what JSON is. Yeah, so that's how this works. So the first thing is I'll just create a collection, or before that, inside our home.dat, I will just fetch, or let me create a floating action. Let me create a floating action button to add new note. So let me say just add like this. So our floating action will just pop up a model sheet. So the model sheet will be the one to just create a new note. So the list will make effect on this what's it called, our body. So this is where we are going to add it. So to add it now, let's just call show model bottom sheet like this. Then we have the container, blah blah blah. Let me just change this to okay, all right. So yeah, model sheet. Then let me switch this to column like this. Let me also create a controller for our text, so we can have it here. So I can say text form field. Then inside the text form field now, so we can do this. So enter some text. Let me increase the max line to like 4 so it can be big enough. Let me also something here. We can remove this height. You can just take whatever height. So here now we can now take elevated button. So elevated button will just be submit. So we capture the text, which is text, although the text can have space. So let's remove this string. From here now we can now save the data to Firestore. So to do that, Firestore have like its own, the same way we call Firebase authentication, the same way Firestore as well have its own instance. So I'll just create a new Firebase instance here now. So let me just come here and just say final, let me call it db, should be equal to Firebase Firestore.instance. So with that we can just make use of the db. So the db will represent the instance of Firestore. So we can import Firestore as well. Then inside here now, before we pop, we can just say db dot collection, the path should be text, then add new text. So basically, before we actually get in now, we have to store the collection for that particular user that is signing. So for that now, we have to say db dot. Okay, we can just use this one first. So to get the user ID of the current signing user, I can just use the user method that is coming from Firebase when the user is signing. So as you can see, Firebase auth current user. So this will get the data of that current signed in user. So let me just import Firebase authentication. All right. So once I import Firebase authentication, then I can just call user.uid here. So instead of this text, let me first of all get the user.uid. Okay, so user.uid, then this is the first collection. As you can see, the format is start a collection. So then from the collection we have first let's let the collection be let's first put text, then inside the text, that's where we now put the ID. Okay, so yeah, this is how it should be. So basically the format is the collection first. So this is the collection. So when you let me just show you the process here. So when you click on start collection, the collection ID, what we are setting the collection ID is this text. So let me just copy this text. Let me just show you. So this text now, let's say this is the collection ID. If I press next, then this document ID now want it to be the ID of the signing user. So we can easily fetch for that user. So that's why you say document, then the document ID, we set it as the user ID, which is this user ID here. So we'll set it here. So let me just click on auto generate. So assuming this is the user ID, then now inside that we now continue to the collection, then we now call it user underscore text, then we add the text the user just create here. So that's basically what we did here. So with this, it will save this text for this particular user. So this user can easily fetch the text that is your own. So that's pretty much it for this part. So that's all. So the next thing now is just to fetch the list inside inside our body. So to do that now, I will just inside this column now, I will call list builder. Okay, before we even call list builder, let's call the what's it called, the Firebase collection that we have here. So we'll call the list. So let's just make use of the stream. So the stream, as you can see from this suggestion, the stream builder will listen to any changes and it will automatically, that's what we call the real-time update. So anytime there's a new change, it will automatically refresh, in a split of seconds, in a split of milliseconds actually. So let's just move this like this. So let me format this so you can see. All right, so what we have here is inside our column, this is our body. So inside our column now we have on page. So since we are using a list view builder, we have to use expanded so as to not crash our home page. So inside the spender now, that's where we have the stream. So the difference between stream and feature is feature only listening to the feature event and it stops there. Stream continue listening to whatsoever changes happen. So that is stream builder. So our query shot from Firebase, from Auth Firestore. So what we are streaming basically is the DB. Remember, we created an instance of Firestore here. So we call the DB the collection. So the collection that we are fetching from is this text. If you remember how we are pushing it, how we are saving it, which is text. The collection is text. So we call the text, then we are fetching for that user again from the user ID. So for that particular user, then we are calling the collection, which is the user text, then snapshot, that is to fetch everything. So from there now we are building the snapshot. So if it has error, then it should return this text that is there's an error. If the connection is still currently ongoing, then it should show a circular indicator to the user, so the user can know that the data is fetching. And once it's done, then we can return a list view builder to return the all the list of text that the user has stored. So that's pretty much it here now. So the only thing left for us is just for the app to be up and running. So I'll just give it a few seconds. I'll pause the video, so by the time it's done, I'll just continue this video. All right, so after a few minutes, our Flutter app is already up and running. So few changes now. We have to go to the main.dat. So on our main.dat, they just clear this, then refer to our login screen. So we just start from login, and as well, we can check if the user should go to login or sign up. So let's quickly just do that. So let me just delete all this, so we can still kickstart from there. So how we can know if the user is signing is to check the user data. So just like I did here under this home, rather, where I have this user Firebase to check if currently user is signing, so we can as well check it. So let me just copy this part now and go to my main. So I'll just put it here. So let me import Firebase authentication. So here now I can see, let me close this. All right, as you can see the suggestion already, but just to make things clearer, okay, let me just delete it and we can start. Let me close this part. So what we are just doing inside this home is to check if the user is signing or not. So here I can say if user is equal to none, so that means the user does not exist. So you should just go to cons.login sign up, otherwise you go to home page. So what that simply means is that if the user is not signing, it should go to login, otherwise you should go to home page like this. So with this we can just restart our app. As you can see, we already have our app like this. This is not the best UI, but you get the message. So that's that. So on the login now, let me just quickly do some adjustments. So from login it can navigate to home page, and also from sign up it can navigate to home page. So after I wait and all and the stuff is complete, then let me just use then on then now, just do this. Then we can say navigator dot push. So context, then we have material page routes like this. Then can just put this like this, then say home screen. Yeah, so we are good to go like that. So because we are inside future, this context might have issues, so we can just use context.build .mounted to just return in order to, okay. So that's that basically. So the next thing now is to do the same thing inside our login. So inside login, I'll just go to this login, then use .then. So .then basically is to, just like how it sounds, is like after the feature is done, what should happen is, so what should happen is to navigate to home screen. So that's basically it. So let me just refresh, then we can see how it works. Yeah, so Now I've restarted the app, so we can just sign in a new user. Let me cancel this so we can watch what is going on. So authentication, so let me create a new account. So if I want to create a new account and I enter new data and I click on login, you are going to see the response. So let me say TechWithSam10@gmail.com. then password.123. This is a weak password, but let me click on login. We did not add any loading indicator, so as you can see, the error here is saying valid credential. The supplied credential is malfound or has expired, so that simply means it does not exist. So instead of login, let's just click on sign up. So sign up here. So as you can see, it sign up the user and we are currently on home screen. If you check through authentication now, you see TechWithSam@gmail.com, sign in my user ID and everything. Now if I go to this Firebase Firestore database, you see that we currently still have empty data. So let me just create a new data now so we can just fetch. So let me just say this is my first item, then submit. So as you can see, this is my first item. If I go to my Firestore, let me just go here, then refresh. As you can see, test, then my user ID, then the user test. So this is under a source collection, so we can see the test. If I create another one now, let me say this is my second text. So create. So you can see the second text here. We can see, as you can see, the second text, the first text. So basically that's all for this video. So what we just do basically now is we set up Firebase with our Flutter application. If you're a beginner, this is the best way to set up Flutter for your Flutter project. So just integrate it dynamically with the Flutter approach that has been added to Firebase. So once you set it, another thing you should keep in mind is the application ID. If you're on production, if you are planning on launching a project, make sure you change the application ID before actually configuring Firebase to the project for both for all the platforms that you are publishing, Android, macOS, and the likes. So make sure you change it from com.example to what you actually want. Then from there, the next thing we did is authentication. For authentication, now you can set up provider. As you can see, we only set up email. You can see the provider here is email and password. We can as well add other provider. You can see signing method. We have new provider. Then we can add Google. We can add other providers here. So that's that for authentication. We're able to do the user sign in and sign up. So basically, to sign in with Firebase, you can see how easy it is just to sign in and sign in and sign up. So this is sign in with email and password. We just pass the user email and password basically, and by the way, Firebase will not show you the password of the user, but we can as well integrate forget password. Very easy. You just have to call a function and you have forget password without you stressing. Firebase will automatically send an email to the user, then the user will click a link that will take the user to where user can change user password. So you can see how easy Firebase is and how everything is inbuilt. So what you just have to do is just to call the function and pass the required data to it. So we did sign in with email and password, and we just passed email and password, and that was it. Then we have create user with email and password as well. We just pass email and password as well. So that is pretty much it. And the next thing we did is just on our home page now, we first of all get the current user to get the ID of the user. The same thing we did on this our main order to check if the user is logging or not. If I refresh, if I auto restart my project now, it will come to the login straight because the user is already logging. As you can see, it's on the home page after the restart of the app. So that's that. So now before I check the user, we are fetching the user ID basically, so we can fetch the list for that particular user. Then we create an instance for Firestore so we can save test inside. Then after that, now we create a stream. So this stream basically will listen to any changes that is happening inside that particular collection group that we are saving our data, then update it effectively. Like that. So for this, let me send it to center so it can be center aligned. So we have the list view builder. So list view builder basically is to list all the items. Then we have data to size, that is the length of the data inside our snapshots, which is required data. Then from there we now have the item here, so which is text. If you check the collection inside our Firestore database, you see the value is text. So that's pretty much it's about how to integrate Firebase. You can see how easy and simple it is, and as well to add new value to Firestore. Basically we just call the collection, then the user ID. This is also having a sub collection. We can as well just store it inside the collection, like the way we have this text, then the ID of the user, then we now have a sub collection here. We can just store the data here as well in an array or whichever format, but for this sub collection is perfect for what we are trying to achieve, and you can see how perfect it works here. So my advice for you is just to try this out, build a personal project with this. If you're a beginner, try to build something like a simple application login, sign up, and something simple with Firestore as well. And let me know in the comments if you need any help, and I will respond to you promptly. If you have watched this video to this extent, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and drop an honest comment, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Bye.